Geekdanites, what's poppin'? It's Adonis. We're back, and today we're talking about the new news for Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Now, the name, interesting. Is it a home run with the name? Probably not, but we're not talking about that right now. We're going to be talking about the trailer that was announced. We're going to be talking about the character designs. We're going to be talking about the animation and some theories about what's going to be going on in this. So if you guys don't want to miss any future Dragon Ball superhero content, make sure you guys smack the like, smack the subscribe, and smack the bell so you guys don't miss it. Now, we're going to play the trailer real quick. I'm just going to put this in just so I could hear at the same time. We're going to play the trailer real quick, go through some of the things that we're seeing in the trailer. Then we're gonna go through character designs, talk about it. So, here we go. Maybe you'll get off my screen. What is going on here? So, zooming on Goku. Okay. Dragon Ball superhero. Cool. 2022 Roadshow. Okay, now, really interesting. Let's talk about this really quick, right? So, the actual illustration seems like it's 2D, but it also is 3D at the same time. In the interview, they were talking about how they utilize some new technology, things like that. So, it seems like it's a 3D space and a 3D maybe skeleton, and it's almost a 2D illustrated exoskeleton, if you want to call it that way. So, the external, outside of the wireframe of the 3D element of the person is a 2D aesthetic, is what it seems like. Now, I know a lot of people are like, 3D, and I'm one of those. The full 3D animated thing is a little strange, but this seems like a blend between the two. Even some of the movement still seems, in some circumstances, a little CG smooth, which is something that I'm not 100% against, but there is something about how animation is usually done. Japanese animation is usually done between 12 and like 18 frames a second, but then it's played back at 24 frames a second or 30 frames a second. So what does that mean? It's called undercranking. So instead of doing a pure 24 frames a second, where every frame of those 24 frames are illustrated, you're basically taking out 8 to 6 of those frames. So things seem snappier. They seem faster when it comes to action and movement and things like that. But then they play it back at 24 frames a second. If you ever seen movies like The Kingsman, the fight sequences that seem snappy and stuff like that, some of those things are shot undercranked. If you watch the movie All About the Benjamins back in the day, when they were dealing with the dice on the pool, the diamonds on the pool table, and they went to go grab it and it seemed like really fast, but it didn't seem like it was sped up. That's called undercranking. You shoot at a lower frame rate, but you play it back at 24 frames. So that's what usually Japanese animation is kind of look like. It's kind of how it's played. But in this scenario, it doesn't seem like that at all. It seems like it's either 24 for 24 or maybe 30 for 30, which is fine. But if the entire scene, if the entire anime is like this, the entire movie is like this could be fine. It's usually jarring when you see, like, let's say the Beast Titan in AOT, who's, at this smoother frames a second, and everything else is undercranked. That's why it looks so wonky, because you have something that's there that's not undercranked, and everything else is shot, illustrated in whatever the Japanese animation illustration frames per second is. So it seems really off, which is why people are always like, it seems really strange, right? So this is a little bit different. Now, with that being said, what I have noticed in this is some of the physics that are in here that are pretty cool. If you take a look at the gi tie, his belt. If you look at the belt, we'll play this in slow motion so you guys can see, but you'll see the physics of the belt still kind of bouncing. It kind of does, like, it has that rebound of boom, boom when he's jumping. His hair does a little bit of a movement here as well. It is a little jarring at certain points. I'll just mute this really quick. But this jump here, you'll see his hair kind of do this. Woo boom. So his hair is still moving, like, and it sits back in place. So there is some interesting things there. So I don't want to say that it's purely CG, how it was in the Broly movie, where those sequences where you have the CG where they just kind of look like stiff. It doesn't look like that. So it seems like there's a blend between the two. Again, if the entirety of the movie is like this, I think it should be fine. I don't think it will be as jarring as I think people remember 3D animation looking like, but it definitely has some 3D elements to it for sure. Now, as far as the other character designs, one of the things that is noted is Piccolo. Piccolo's new character design, I know people are like, oh, it's Piccolo. Slight. This is definitely a more manga accurate Piccolo. The yellow instead of the pink on his arms, so he doesn't have the pink hues, he has the yellow hues. One other thing that I noticed for sure is his shoes. His shoes are different. My man got a little bit more of a boot situation going on than those little moccasin things that he was wearing before. So definitely a different scenario there for Piccolo, but definitely has more of a manga-esque colorway to him with the yellow instead of the pink. Pretty cool. This is the thing that is really interesting. Now, we saw Pan in the previous movies and in Dragon Ball Super as a baby. Like, she was a baby, right? So, the only time we've seen Pan, besides GT, is at the end of Z, when she's in the martial arts tournament. I believe she's either 4 or 5 there. During the conference, they were talking about that she's 5 years old here. So if Pan is in kindergarten, she said she's in her kindergarten uniform, what does that actually mean for Pan? I don't know what that means for her as a character. Does that mean that this takes place after the time skip? I'm not 100% sure. And if it does, that'd be amazing, because then we can get out of the idea of certainty. Because that was the issue for me with Dragon Ball Super, is it takes place within the time skip. So if that's the case, we know that everybody survives, right? But if this takes place after the tournament, where Oob and Goku fought and all that stuff, if that takes place after the tournament, this is interesting. This becomes a whole new world, literally, right? So this is awesome. I hope that that is where it's going. That'd be really cool. We have Krillin in his police uniform that we saw him in previous movies. So we have him back in there with his helmet situation. They were talking about his character design, saying that his eyes are white instead of the body color. Now this is really dope. We have Piccolo's house for the first time. Piccolo's crib. Crib Piccolo. Really interesting. It's really interesting too for me. I'm gonna keep it a stack that my man has a mailbox. Trying to figure out who the hell is dropping off mail. It seems like Cliffside. Who's getting here, Cliffside, to drop off the mail is what I want to know. But this landscape here looks awesome. Again, it has this 2D animated, 3D animated fusion together. It seems like a 3D space, but it seems as if it's hand-drawn 2D animation. It's really unique, and I'm digging it a lot. For whatever reason, the scene just has some depth that I'm actually really digging. So I'm digging this a lot, actually. Now, the big news, right? We have who supposedly is the hero, maybe? Not 100% sure who this character is supposed to be, but this is one of those characters that we're like, oh, this is somebody new. We have not seen this character at all in Dragon Ball. And this is exciting, right? It's the first time we've seen an actual really new, 100% new character. Now, a lot of people may think that this is the same person. I don't believe it's the same person. I think they're two different people. The reason why I think that, let's go through some of the obvious, because it could come off, oh, power upgrade. He goes from level 1 to level 2, right? Head split situation, red cape turns blue. But the thing for me is, obviously we don't know how his power works, but the gun on the other guy is blue as well. So unless the upgrade of power changes his actual gun color as well, could be a case. We have to wait and see. But this could be two people. Could be two people. I'm gonna go on the lines of it being two separate people. We'll say that for now. I'll just be in that camp. It'll probably be a minority. But I'm going for the finger cross of complexity versus just one character that can just level up. It'd be cool to have two separate characters, but it doesn't really matter. However, the character design does seem pretty cool. It does take a little bit of an Ultraman vibe. It definitely has some Ultraman vibes to me. Definitely. But I'm digging it. It definitely doesn't seem like they just took a ton out of the Dragon Ball character box and said, okay, what do we want to go through here and just take things out and start, you know what I'm saying? Because it seems like a lot of things, obviously it's a Dragon Ball world, so things need to fit that world, but a lot of times the character designs just seem like they're reused body parts from other characters and then just mesh a new character together, you know? So this is really interesting. It seems fresh. Definitely seems fresh for the anime itself. But overall, I'm intrigued. I'm excited to see what it is that they're going to be doing with this. The character models seem pretty cool. I like the whole true to form, especially with Piccolo. Now, what we didn't see is any other cast. We haven't seen Vegeta. We haven't seen, Gohan. Obviously, we see Pan, so I'm assuming Gohan's in it as well. So there are characters that we still haven't seen yet, but they're just kind of giving us a little taste on what this is going to be looking like. Now, again, my biggest thing is this right here. This is the biggest reveal to me because it's giving us time. This is a big time difference right now. So does this take place after everything that's going on right now in the manga, right? Because the manga, the Granola arc, seems like it's fairly close to the Moto arc. So I'm assuming this is a ways past their Granola arc. So maybe we'll see a time skip after the Granola arc before this starts. And then does the series come back? And if the series does come back, does it take place after the movie? Are they going to rehash the movie into the anime like they did with Resurrection F and Battle of Gods? We're not 100% sure, but I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. One, are you excited about Dragon Ball Super Superhero? Let me know in the comments. Also, what are your theories? Do you think this takes place after Z, finally? Or do you still think it takes place maybe before the tournament? Or maybe after the tournament? I'm not really sure, but let me know what your guys' thoughts are. When does this take place in the Dragon Ball timeline, so to speak? Is this a variant? So let me know your guys' thoughts on that. And also let me know what you guys want me to cover moving forward with Dragon Ball Super. Do you want me to still do more stuff on the manga? I know a lot of you guys liked the whole, video that I did with the Destroyer Vegeta situation. Let me know if you guys want to see more Dragon Ball content on the channel. DBZ is my GOAT. Obviously my personal GOAT. It's not the GOAT, but it is my personal favorite anime of all time. So if you guys want me to cover more of that, let me know in the comment section. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Till then, stay geek.